When TimeRider announced his Bone Shaker 4 Invitational, I thought I would use this Bone Shaker open roof casting that I got from Jimmy Wilson. I also wanted to use these 3D printed parts that I had sitting around that I had ordered from HHW a while back. And then I realized there were some problems, that it wasn't going to fit together as easily as I thought. You see, there were some spots on the base where the premium, it was a premium casting. The one well, two of them that Jimmy sent me were premium Bone Shaker castings. And it's made a little differently. So I ended up dragging out this one I had started a while back that was a standard open roof Bone Shaker. The premium one has a notch in the back and only one front post. The standard or the mainline Bone Shaker with the open roof doesn't have that. It has two posts, both one at the front and one at the back. That doesn't mean the premium goes away for good. I end up stealing the wheels off of that. But you may have noticed I did file down the taillights on the back of this Bone Shaker. I'm going to use decals like I've done before on Bone Shaker builds for the taillights. The Bone Shaker continues to be a rough casting. It's just not smooth in any way. There's just so many rough areas on it. You see me filing the bottom on the underside? That's because there were even like chunks of metal on the base of the sides, like under the doors. And I wasn't able to fit the 3D base in 3D printed interior into the Bone Shaker without filing those chunks off. And it seems like every time I strip a Bone Shaker, I'm amazed at how rough the casting is. And, they hide a lot of that with just really heavy paint. And I guess in a way, the idea of the Bone Shaker lends itself to some roughness. So if you were looking at a Lambo, you'd expect it to be sleek and smooth. And yeah, sure, they'd bury the crap out of it with paint. But the Bone Shaker can get away with a little rougher edge to it. Let me put it that way. So once I had this thing cleaned up, I dip it in IPA to get any grease off of it, get any residue from when I'm filing it and going over it with the buffing wheel, that kind of thing. Got it mounted on the helping hands. And I'm looking at it. It looks good. I'm thinking I'm okay at this point. Hit it with Purplicious paint. And I have the white toner. They're two-part decals. The white toner piece goes down first, and here I'm putting the color layer over those. I really like the Tester's Purplicious paint. It's a great color. And it really is very similar to that original casting that I started to use that I got from Jimmy. That's also a purple color. I'm going very plain on this year's TimeRider build. Last year, I don't know if you recall, but last year is when I built the Grinch. I'm thrilled with that Grinch build, how it turned out. And, there was a lot of work involved in that build, and I love doing that build. But I've already done a pretty comprehensive Bone Shaker build earlier this year for the first Diecast Exchange Bone Shaker event. We have another one coming up at Diecast Exchange. Another Bone Shaker build coming up next month. That one, I'm looking at it as a somewhat simpler build. Not a lot of body work for me on that one, at least what I have planned. Well, thinking about it, actually, there's going to be a lot of body work, but not slamming multiple castings together like I did on the Grinch or things like that. But the theme for that next Bone Shaker build is drift. And so I have something in mind and I can visualize it, but it's going to be weird. I'm hoping it comes off okay on the Bone Shaker casting. Either way, you're going to get to see what the result is when I get to it. But that's coming up here shortly too. That build, as I recall, starts April 1st, and you have until the end of April to finish that one. And I think the casting I'm going to use on that, I want a closed roof on that bone shaker, but I'm thinking I'm starting with an open roof bone shaker on that build, one that I got from Santa Slow Dog. So here I'm starting to paint one of the 3D printed pieces from HHW Customs. This is the interior, and it's tough to see in the photo, in the video here, but that's hit with primer black, and then I'm going over it now with dark gold gray is the bottle paint. And I'm just kind of dry brushing the seats gray to give them some detail, to make them pop against the gray interior. This 3D printed interior is nicely detailed. The stick on it is insanely thin, insanely brittle. You have to be crazy careful with it because it's a scale stick. And so there's very little support for it. You have to be careful when you're painting it. I do end up hitting that with chrome in the steering wheel. Very nicely detailed interior, very nicely detailed steering wheel. I hit that with chrome as well to get them to pop a little bit. I did not attempt to print the gauges on the dash because sometimes, I'm not sure what's the best way to describe this, but it's like one of the reasons I don't generally print trim around windows on 1/64 scale cars. To me, it's not realistic. You can't get that small with what you're painting. You might be able to pull it off with decals, but painting it, you're not going to be able to do it. And it's almost like when you do paint it, it's far from scale and looks odd. It looks too heavy in a lot of cases. So that's why I don't do it on a lot of builds. And that's kind of why I didn't even attempt it on this dash, because if I was to attempt to hit that detail on the dash that Hayden provided on these 3D printed parts, it's going to look gloppy. See, there you see the interior. I'm thrilled with that interior just the way it is. You know, and you're not going to see the dash that well anyway. Here's the 3D printed engine. The 3D printed parts on this are the base, the interior, and the engine are the three parts. And here I paint the red first because I'm going to go around the intake with chrome. And that it's easier to print the red first and then add chrome. I also do the engine in gunmetal. There you see. Man, the caps on some of these paints, I gotta say, for whatever, I over tighten them or whatever, and they crack, and I should move them to other bottles, and I don't, but it is what it is. But I paint the engine chrome, and here's my biggest omission during this build. You don't get to see me put it together. I had the camera on, and I'm putting the 3D printed pieces in and screwing this together, and then I look up and the camera wasn't on, so I only caught the tail end of that, as you saw. There's where we started, and here's where it ended up. I'm thrilled with these 3D printed parts. They're just exceptionally well done. There were multiple engine options. I think I bought 3 different engines, as I recall. I like how it works. It gives the bone shaker a better look to me. Gets rid of the skull on the front that so many people hate. Those are the real riders from the premium bone shaker casting that I had attempted to use early on. All in all, I'm thrilled with the build. I like the look. It's far less complex than last year's Grinch was for this event, but I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with the results. Thanks, TimeRider, for hosting this event. Everybody, check out his channel. I believe it's April 1st that he's going to release a video and people can vote on their favorites and that kind of thing. I've seen one of the builds that's going in. It's truly exceptional. And so be sure and check out all of those and check out his channel. Everybody, thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy out there. I'll catch you in the next one. And check out one of these videos if you haven't yet. Catch you in the next one.